What's going on, guys? This is Zoe Barone, just back with another video for my channel. Just hanging out at the gym, was working out, thought it would be a good idea for me to, make another nice vlog from the beautiful Kuala Lumpur. My voice is echoing, so I am going to have to go to a quieter place or maybe go outside. Hey guys, I just had to pause the video because it was too loud up there, so I just thought, you know what, maybe we just go out for a nice little walk. You know what, it's beautiful outside. The weather is gorgeous. It's supposed to be, snowing and bad weather in different parts of the world, but here in Malaysia, it's amazing, as you guys can see. So we're on our way to a park. I just found out there's a park about a 5-minute walk from us, and apparently it's really nice. So I thought, you know what, why not walk and make this vlog. So as a lot of you might know, I'm a chartered accountant or chartered professional accountant, CPA, from Canada, and I have my own accounting firm based out of Toronto. And today's video, I just wanted to make and talk about how to make money online and live in East Asia. This, I think, is a very intriguing subject that a lot of people, I think, they're stuck with, dead-end jobs, or even just working, or have, liabilities and bills and other commitments that, they would love to basically pack up all their bags because they think they've had enough of that life, and just move to like a place like this. If not, just come live in East Asia. All these places are pretty accessible from, so for example, if I was to fly from Kuala Lumpur, I will be heading over to Bangkok for some business. That flight in itself is about 2 hours. So if I wanted to fly from here to Phuket, that's another hour and 15 minutes or something like that. And it's fairly cheap, the airplane tickets. It could range from anywhere from $50–$60 to about $100, $150, something along those lines. But usually you have to make sure that at least one of your baggages is included in the actual price of the ticket. Otherwise, that's their way of making money on you. So just be aware of that. So in the last video, we covered the pros of living in East Asia. I mean, cons, you can always, any place would have cons, but to be quite honest with you, for me, the pros of living out in East Asia were far more than the cons. So I just wanted to, concentrate on the pros, and I guess in a separate video, we can talk about the cons, potential cons, I could say, of being in East Asia. But we're just in a happy mood, so we're only going to think about good vibes, positive vibes. And you know what, that is the actual aim. Life is short, you gotta enjoy every last bit of it. And you know what, not just basically feel like you're kind of stuck somewhere, and even if you are stuck somewhere, you need a strategic game plan to escape that way of life. So a lot of people must be wondering as to how I'm able to just go live away from Canada, Toronto, for such prolonged period of times, and go live in different countries for 1 year, 6 months, 8 months. Well, I've made Dubai my second secondary residence. So I follow like a philosophy where I was speaking with myself, and I said, hey, if I'm gonna live 12 months out of the year in Canada, I think I'm just gonna go nuts, man. Like I can't do that. So since I would say 2009, I just came up with a strategy of living in 2 cities. So I would, initially what I started was with winter time. I would just pack my bags and I would just go and skate winters. And then it started becoming more and more and more. And then I started developing, more ties in terms of living overseas. So initially I was living out in Miami and Toronto. And from that point on time, Miami, I just really didn't feel a connection with the city. Short term it was good, the beaches were good, it was really nice, but I felt that I needed like a more practical city. And from that point on time, I actually ended up, I was training with this other CPA out in Los Angeles. So I decided to move to Los Angeles, and that's where it opened me up to a whole different world of opportunities, and got me thinking that, hey, you know what, why do I have to live life so structured? Life should demand some level of flexibility and should be able to accommodate how you are trying to live. That's basically how I got started with this whole entire thought process of living in, living out. So each year I was spending a lot more time living out of out of Canada, and I was living in Los Angeles and Toronto. And then eventually near COVID times, I decided that North America wasn't just gonna cut it for me. So even before, I was just visiting Dubai a lot. So I said to myself, why not make Dubai my base? And that's what led me to moving to Dubai. So that's how I started living there. And then after living for like a while in Dubai, I decided that Dubai is a great city. I love it, but I needed more adventure. I needed to see more of the world and travel besides Europe and stuff. So I decided, why not try East Asia? And I started from Bangkok. That was the first city I landed at. This is a couple of years ago, and I instantly fell in love with East Asia. Number one, it's the laid-back culture, number one. And to be quite honest with you, people are much more relaxed. The rules here are much more relaxed to the way how you want to live, number one. And on top of it, living is much more affordable in these places. Obviously, as comparison to Dubai. Although I am going to make a video regarding Dubai in terms of how to live in Dubai for cheap as well, for anybody. Dubai is a city where you can either scale it up and potentially just live really live the high life, or you can still live in Dubai for a budget. So we'll make a separate video for that at a much later time. But for now, we're gonna focus on how to make money online and living in East Asia. All right, let's jump into it. So there's two ways. A lot of times, after COVID, a lot of jobs have basically transpired and just become online, permanently. A lot of in the banking sector, or literally, a lot of the office jobs, they've just permanently been made to for people to work from online. So those people, I guess, they would need to budget, and they would need to set up online banking just so they're able to pay all their bills and stuff, and try to digitize their living as much as possible. So that's the easy one. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about somebody who doesn't maybe have a job, but inspires to maybe live a certain way, or besides that, you have inspirations of you're being an entrepreneur. So I always choose the path of entrepreneur, because I'm a strong believer that even if you are living out of a basement and you don't have much going on for yourself, I call it the 1% rule. So in life, never try to go and try to take on the entire beast. There's a really famous saying that goes that Rome wasn't all built in one day. What does that mean? That means that literally, as long you gotta make a list of your shortcomings in life. You have to basically be able to break down all the areas that are weak and all the areas that you're lacking, and try to work the 1% and make the list from the highest priority to the least highest priority, and start basically your journey called life. Even if it takes you 1 year to basically get yourself organized, and just get yourself in a really decent position for you to be able to live overseas, then that will be a big plus moving for you, and it'll just make things much more organized for you to do. Yeah, so ultimately what you have to do with the rising cost of living and how the world is shaping up to be, you can never rely on one source of income again. So the right way of building wealth and wealth generation strategies is for you to have multiple sources of income. Even if one source of your income generates you $1,000 a month and another one $500, well, guess what, that's $1,500 for you. That's going to basically go towards something. So most people that are living in East Asia, they basically, a lot of them, they live on budgets. So at the end of the day, you can cost of living is relatively, I would say, cheaper, especially in a place like Kuala Lumpur, or even Thailand to some extent, Bali. I did talk about in another video that how cost of living potentially could be high in these places in comparison to Kuala Lumpur. And the reason why I said that is people get carried away, and they basically tend to just go on these trips and then start partying, unnecessarily, and start throwing it up, thinking how cheap it is. And next thing you see, they really dig themselves into a really bad hole, and then they have no choice left but to basically go back to the roots. So in this case, for myself, what I've tried to do is I've tried to create multiple sources of income working online. One of my sources of income that I'm currently working on is Amazon. I have a couple of other e-commerce type stores that basically I sell goods. And once again, setting up something like this, it usually is hard work. But once you have the entire platform down, and me being an accountant, doing all the management and stuff, has made things, easier for me. But that doesn't mean that, you guys with a little bit of knowledge, just how-tos, just Googling it, or you can even reach out to me, potentially, maybe we can set up a one-on-one seminar and discuss different strategies in terms of how to help you put something like that together for yourself. You really have to, sit down with yourself, or maybe take some time to see what is a relative strength of yours, or something that you can maybe develop in, I guess, a skill that you can easily develop, right? For sometimes people, they do a lot of, I've been bumping into a lot of social media influencers here. I met a lot of girls here that basically are all into like content writing, and what they're doing a lot of creative content writing, just in independent journalism, or they're doing a lot of active blogging. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, even though I'm speaking to you guys and you're like, where's the money? How much money can you really earn? As an accountant, I do a lot of tax work for a lot of I would call them IT subcontractors working online. They make very good money. Like anything for me to say to you, like 100,000, that's a joke. They make a couple of $100,000, and guess what? They have carved themselves a beautiful niche of being able to, they're known as digital nomads, and there's a huge community of them living in East Asia. In Bali, like especially, they have a lot of meetups. People, they get together, they discuss different ideas. So what you want to start doing, you want to basically get connected with Facebook groups and different groups, across, and you got to start networking. People, they don't like to network with someone who does not bring any value. So what you want to do, you want to do both at the same time. You need to basically acquire a skill set that you can provide a service online, because now most of the services, they're all online based anyways to begin with. So what you want to do, you want to be able to provide value, and value is provided in the sense that you need to be networked, you need to be connected, and at the same time too, what you also need, you need to be able to solve a problem of some sort. So if you look at, there's a lot of like customer service type jobs, and I'm not advocating someone start just doing some type of customer service, but a lot of service based jobs now, they're all online, and you don't necessarily need to be, and they've all been outsourced. So people, they've opened like different companies where they're just out in like India or Philippines, like Malaysia, or etc. etc. You get the idea. So what you want to do with that ideology is you want to start by picking up a skill set. Number two, what you want to do is you need to get connected with whoever is in that niche, and try to connect and talk to as many people as you can. And you don't even have to meet up in this day and age. It all could just be done online. And what that does for you, it's going to basically prime you to, ultimately when it comes to contacts too. Like I speak once again from my own experiences, that you literally will be connecting, talking to hundreds of people. They'll become part of your network. But guess what? You maybe might not work with any of them. And literally by doing so, you'll basically make a handful of connections based on, your wavelength and people. Some people, they're generally really nice. They're looking to help one another grow, and you feel a connection with those people. And with that being said, when you come across those people, there's an instant connection, and ultimately what happens is that you guys most likely will end up sharing some type of common interest together. And with those common interests, you probably are going to want to come together and start something, and that will be the first time that you build some type of a team of yours. So the whole idea behind all of this is to be able to build a team, acquire a skill set, and at the same time too, I gotta cross the road and see I don't get run over here. Just at this beautiful park now. I just got sidetracked a little bit. Just like a nice walking trail, getting my cardio in, and also, you know what, connecting with you guys as well. So basically, when you start building your core fundamentals of knowledge, connection, and your connections are basically your reach, and you know what you want to do is, even if you can end up finding 2 or 3 people or 1 or 2 people, that's good enough. What you need to do, you need to work on your social media presence. In this day and age, like I actually don't want to get into specifics, but I actually know an accountant that also was a licensed CPA, and while I was getting lots of business, this person was not getting anything. And mind you, they were very, very technical, their work was good, but the problem with them was, it's literally out of sight means out of mind. Meaning, like, you know what, imagine me sitting somewhere here, park, and I'm able to do some work. I might be the best at it, and I might have a lot of demand, like, you know, for my services or for my product. But the problem is, if I am not able to get myself in front of my own audience, then what's the point? So, and this person, their social media presence was very weak, and because of it, she did, I would say, grow her business, although I think, but she was not happy with the results. And in the end, you know what, you know, she might probably even think to herself that, you know what, there's no money in it to be made for myself, and you know what, this career profession is not for me. That's what happens to most people, because ultimately what happens, they don't create value. Whenever you can even take a product that's not even your own product. You can take somebody else's product. And ultimately, guess what? It's a lot of times people, they're trying to, one of my biggest problem was, I was trying to reinvent the wheel. And you know what? There's no point inventing a product. Don't waste your time and energy, because that thought process, you know, wasted a lot of my years that, you know what, I could have been doing whatever I'm doing, you know, even prior to 2009, probably 2001, or if anything like that. But you know what, everything happens in life for a reason. And you know what, here I am making this video for you guys and sharing my thoughts and experiences of what made me into the person that I am today. And success is basically like the way, if you flip a coin, most people, what's the first thing that they say? They say, you know what, head could possibly mean, you know what, them you know, succeeding, and tails might be, you know, like failure. In my ideology, literally heads and tail is the same result. If for some reason, if you're failing, my definition of failure is that you might be trying to do something and might not be succeeding. You have not failed. You just haven't succeeded yet. It's taking you longer time to succeed, because failure teaches you more than success does. So that's where, you know what, we've all spent years trying different techniques and different approaches and trying all that we can to basically come up with different products and services, and, you know, putting up different brands. And you know what, like, look at Michael Jordan, the basketball player. He basically failed his way into success and becoming the greatest athlete of all time, because the problem is you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So ultimately what you want to do is, you should not be scared of failure, and ultimately you should not be scared to live your life the way how you want to live your life. And the best way to, you know, go about doing something along those lines is that you have to, you know, talk to yourself and say that, you know what, this is my journey, and you know what, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna try to build online platforms, and there's many, you can write an ebook, publish it on Kindle, on Amazon, and there's people who write ebooks for a living and they make a lot of money. Or you know what, you can start selling on Amazon. You can have, you know, your stores on Shopify. I had one kid, I believe he was 22. So when I'm sitting in in my office back in Toronto, like nowadays I just work remotely, so I see all kinds of people, and obviously as an accountant, when you open their books, you see who's making money and how. So when I opened, when I was talking to this kid, he had 20 stores on Shopify, and he was crushing it. And again, you're thinking that you need to go do, something magical or something extraordinary. No, it doesn't work like that. In the future videos, I am going to share with you a lot of resources, a lot of cool books that basically, in courses that I did, that I read, aside from me being a CPA, that basically really opened my eyes, because at the end of the day, I didn't just want to be an accountant. I just wanted to be a very good accountant, but on top of it, what I wanted to be in business. And then as me being, a professional accountant, I also wanted to bring value in terms of launching my own brands. That was my vision all along with my accounting firm. So literally, I come from really humble beginnings. Like, there wasn't a lot that was happening in terms of me growing up, but had to put in the time. And you know what? This is me sharing my experiences with you guys. So another thought process that I have, you can have a friend of yours who's basically working a 9-to-5 job, making, let's say, $1,000, and let's say online you're just basically making $10. To be honest, the fact that you are working for yourself and making $10, that's equivalent in my books to $1,000, because ultimately that person, that friend of yours who's making the $1,000, he's going to keep making that. His cost of living is only going to go up, and he's going to have to find another job or just work. There's very little growth in a 9-to-5 job. But you, on the other hand, let's say you would have, for me in my younger years, you start with a loss. You keep taking L's, and next thing you see, everybody, they're just being highly judgmental of you. They're thinking, hey, whatever your approach is, it's not working, and you're not going to make it. And you have to cut out those people. Those are negative, toxic people. Those are haters. You have to get rid of them. There's a lot of good people out in this world, and you know what? Though sometimes even being alone and being a loner is better than these people, because they belittle your ambitions and they do not allow you to become all that you want to be. Now, at the end of the day, when you start off, people, they don't really have much going on for themselves, and that's completely normal. Look, for me now, I have an exotic car. I have a Ferrari. I basically live overseas for as long as I want. I've basically digitized my entire business model. So you know what? The whole entire purpose of me making this channel was not to make cool videos of, I wanted to bring a value. For me, being cool is to bring, value to people's lives, that if I can do this, you can easily, anybody can do this. Because literally, you know what, I don't want this to become like a sad story, because everybody has a lot of issues and stuff like that in terms of, growing up and things that, that kind of, the setbacks in life. And to be quite honest, and even at times you might be lacking confidence, the real confidence really comes from your accomplishments. That's what I think. So when you start accomplishing, big things in your life, then your mind opens up and you start seeing life from really different lenses. And you know what, that's all the good stuff. But you have to ask yourself, who was part of your initial support system when you were initially starting out? At that point in time, you'll maybe have 1, 2, 3 people. You can count those people on your fingertips. And as you move up in life and you build these online systems, because you know what, think of this as an ideology, that if you have to go cut 100 trees, you have to go cut 100 trees in very little time. So the manual approach would be, you just pick up an axe, cut one tree, cut another tree, cut another tree, or you build a system. You basically come up, you spend 80% of your time sharpening your axe, so you can basically, in 20% of time, you can cut 100 trees. So in this day and age, if you are looking to be free and you want to live the life, to seek financial freedom, because let's face it, work is never over. And anybody who tells you, hey, we're making money in our sleep and this and that, they're bullshitters. That even the most passive income requires some level of input and thought coming from you. That's what I think, or on most part, I would say. You know what, I can't really generalize for 100% of the people, but I would say at least 95 to 98% of the people still have to be somewhat involved with, with their businesses and or their investments. And the best investment that you can ever make is self-investment. That is the best type of investment that a person can make, because ultimately, you know what, I was a late bloomer. Took me a lot of time to figure out what I wanted in life in terms of school. I started things late. Everything in my life happened late. And you know what, people, they wrote me off, man. They completely wrote me off. They said, this person, you know what, you're not heading anywhere. Like, you know, and then, like, you know, you get mocked by people, this and that. But the whole idea behind this whole process is to start with a skill set. And you can look at different online ideas, and in the future videos I am going to basically make and talk about some of these ideas and where to begin and what kind of books to read. And you know what, just move at your pace. Even if you're living out of, you know, your parents' house in a basement, that's fine. Rome was not all built in one day. Even if you do the 1% approach every single day and you start with very little, and you're going to start accumulating little knowledge, and eventually, you know what's going to happen? The finished product, a lot of times we envision it to be something, but it turns out to be something else, which is perfectly normal. So you know what, you might be thinking that, hey, I want to do creative writing and I want to write a lot of books and I want to inspire people and I want to sell those books on Amazon. And next thing you see, maybe you write 1 or 2 or 3 books, and next thing you see, you're not selling anything. And ultimately what happens is that, you know what, you pivot your foot, and next thing you see, maybe you turn that crab that you picked up and you start doing like blogging for people, or, you know, literally, and there's a lot of demand for stuff like that. So initially your game plan was to basically write books, but now all of a sudden, you know what, you're getting paid to go travel the world, or your employer basically is based out of a different region, and next thing you see, you're living in East Asia. Wow, look at this beautiful view. Priceless. Those are the Petronas Towers right there. It's a beautiful park. There we go. So what I would in this video, and obviously I'm going to have to make more videos where, you know, I elaborate all that I mean, you know, in this video, like what I meant by that. But me speaking to you guys as a CPA, I will highly recommend you guys is to take baby steps, develop a skill set, you know, create a support system, first a personal support system, and then build on it and work to basically make, you know, like a network, a professional network, using, you know, these forms and stuff. Look for opportunities that allow you to basically work at your own pace, even though you might be having a job that you need to basically pay your bills, but you maybe started off as a hobby or as a side hustle in the beginning, you know, doing certain things. I actually knew people that were literally, you know, picking things up off of classified, you know, like Kijiji and like Craigslist and just many others. And from there, they were just basically, you know, selling it to other people, and they were making, you know, change. Obviously, that's not sustainable or scalable, but people, they were just hustling to basically do whatever it took for their next big move. The good thing is, even if you are making, let's say, $1,000, you know what, selling some products online or doing something along those lines, and I will get into specifics at some point. You guys can always leave me comments, and you guys can also, you know, give me your feedback, and I will make videos as to how I did it, how I was able to, you know, put these entire systems together. And obviously this is not something that, hey, you know what, easy peasy, 1 2 3. There's no such thing as easy peasy. There was a lot of effort and trial and error, but obviously I came up with preset formulas that started working for me, and that led me from there to here. So with that being said, what are the takeaways from this video? The takeaways are, first, you need the mindset. What you guys want to do to be able to make money online is to basically correct your mindset, number one. And then what you guys need to do, you guys need to explore a niche. A niche could be either do you want to sell on some other platform like Etsy, or people they sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace or Amazon or whatever, or do you want to be like maybe a private seller? That's on the good side. So meaning you're providing people, you're selling goods somehow. I personally, I like the service-based sector because with goods, and I'm going to be honest with you, selling goods, you can make a lot of money like on the e-commerce side, but then come logistics, transportation. But in this day and age, along with COVID and with a lot of problems that are happening around the world with wars, and supply chains are disrupted, and there's always something happening, and also the cost of doing business has really gone up, transportation costs, freight costs, and then obviously you have to worry about shrinkage, which is people stealing your goods or defective damaged goods, and then literally just storing those goods. So these are things which you're always going to be thinking about them at the back of your head, and it is a headache. But I'm not saying it can't be done. What I was able to do, I was able to set up supply chains and hire people from different countries to help me, you know, manage them. So you know what? They both are very good strategies. It all really comes down to which one you're interested in. Number two, which one works out for you. So what you want to do is you want to maybe go a little bit broader in the beginning, experiment with a few things on a very small level, and then use it to kind of test yourself. And don't like invest too much money, like, you know, and you can invest time, but don't invest too much money in the beginning trying something, because it might or might not work for you. Because just because something worked for me or something worked for your friend doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work for you as well. So I personally prefer the service-based sector, meaning like I give examples of blogging, creative writing, and you know what, just, you know, virtual assistants, customer support. That's just like a basic start. And then where people can take it nowadays, what I've seen, I've been training at Tiger Muay Thai. There's a lot of UFC, that's a UFC gym, and there's a lot of UFC fighters there, that like Hamzat, and there's a whole bunch of different names. Rafael Fizid is there. There is a lot of guys. You guys can look it up on their Instagram page. I'm rocking their shirt too. And I am going to be training there. I think I'm going to be there after 2 weeks. So I literally have been, it's been a long time since I've been gone from Canada. And to be quite honest, I'm in no rush to go back. Or, you know, yeah, you miss family here or there, but to be quite honest with you, I love this life. I just want to live in a place where I have some mental peace. Even if you basically make $1,000 clean online and you basically spend it, and I'm not saying that's a lot of money, I'm saying that the $1,000 goes a longer way than it would back in Canada, America, Europe, or anywhere else. So that's why I'm starting to see a common trend of more and more people, they're moving to these places, they're seeing the opportunities, they're seeing basically, you know what, they're waking up from, you know, all the bullshit that they've been eating and that they've been thinking about, and, you know, things holding them back, or procrastination. Don't even get me started on that. That we have to basically address that, because laziness, procrastination, they're your worst enemies. That's like a slow plague that doesn't allow you to actualize and become who you want to be. So with that basically being said, what you want to do is you want to start, first of all, making a list of, you know, for example, you got to start map out who you are. Most people think they know who they are, but in fact they don't really. Once you start writing, because I'm a psych major as well, I did a psych degree, bachelor's degree from York University, and in that degree, you know, I picked up a lot of cool stuff that basically, you know, I was able to put into play in terms of my real life. And one of those things that I picked up was, you know what, it's called introspection. And also what you want to do, you want to be able to write down on a piece of paper, you know, who you are, write your strengths, write your weaknesses. In accounting, it's known as the SWOT analysis. Strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Google it, guys, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And what that does, it allows you to be able to kind of see yourself like on a piece of paper and start mapping out basically who you really are. Even though you might be 40, 50 years of age, it's perfectly fine. There's no such thing. Life is not a race, it's a marathon. And people tend to forget that, you know, because they're like, hey, you know what, I'm too old, it's too late for me, I cannot be, you know, who I want to be now in life. Like, you know, just those are all just loser talks. Those are some serious loser talks. You get one life. Even if you start, look at Colonel what's his name, Sanders, the founder of the KFC. He started, what age was he, like 60 years old or something? But ultimately he left behind a legacy. But ultimately, even a single day that you're living above ground and in good health, or even, you know what, even if, you know, God forbids, you're not in good health, and, you know, even if your limbs are missing, you still are alive. You're not 6 foot under. That means, you know what, love the sound of birds. Anyways, got sidetracked there. So the whole idea behind all of this is never to be discouraged. Always try to have laser sharp guided focus. And look, guys like me are out here. Guys like me are out here that come from, you know what, very humble beginnings, that literally, you know, took some time to figure out what they wanted in life. And then once they knew what they wanted in life, like, you know what, came up with strategies, a strategic game plan, started chipping away at it, set annual goals, set monthly goals, and then hold yourself accountable for those goals. While I'm looking at these water lily pads, I want to have a quick out. Very relaxing. So with me, one of my good routines that I really got inspired when I was training at these UFC gyms. So I do train Muay Thai, and I love it. I want to basically now get into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then eventually want to make my way into MMA. That's what my goal is. And again, if anybody would have, I guess, you know, I would have shared this vision with, they probably would have laughed at me. But here I am laughing at them, like where they're basically probably stuck somewhere in the cold and, you know, freezing themselves, and they probably need a jacket to keep themselves warm. So anyways, this is, I kind of just went on a little bit of rant there. That wasn't my point. The actual point and perspective is that, you know what, you just want to mind your own business, just do you. And you know what, everybody has time. And when you see, you know what, start working out. Working out is really important for your mindset. It opens you up. You feel better. If you ever feel like, you know, any type of like, you know, anything in your mind that's throwing you off, then potentially what happens is that, you know, you can clear your mind, you know, and it inspires growth and learning. So you want to build on happy, healthy habits. Try to cut out sugar. Sugar makes you fat, lazy, and stupid. So you know what, that's one of the difficult things which you're going to do. I'm also a culprit that I do enjoy eating, you know, sugary foods, but, you know, time to time. But what you want to do is your actual diet should not have more than 20% junk food or fast food. Junk food I completely cut out on most part. Just with fast food too, you know, sometimes we get that urge. So you want to eat clean. So that what it does, it gives you energy to be able to focus better. It's easier to wake up in the morning, and morning routines, we're going to talk about them, you know, later on. So hopefully once I get back to Canada, probably sometime, I try to go there for summers, and just, you know, just to see family, to catch up with friends on life. And then, you know, I always, you know, encourage people to get out there and try to experience life for what it is, because let's face it, nobody lives forever. Whatever you're building, use money as a tool to live your life. If it's, you know, even the title of this video is how to make money online and live in East Asia, but these are general, you know, ideologies and rule of thumbs that you can use this philosophy of life to build any version or of life that you want to do so. Like maybe living in East Asia, maybe it's not your thing, maybe you just want to stay wherever you are. But you do want to inspire to be a better version of yourself. But how are you going to do that if you don't start with the basics? When you start with the basic fundamentals, you sort them out, you put things, you know, together in writing, and then, you know what, at least you have the blueprint, because you are the product. Remember something, in the end, even, you know, with Facebook and social media, you are the product. So ultimately, what needs to happen is you need to focus. I gotta cross the road. Give me a second. Everybody look at this. Working out. That's the beauty about living in like hot countries, because ultimately what happens is that people are more lively. They have better views. Like, you know, they're happier in life as opposed to feeling miserable. Anyways, so the whole idea behind these approach is that for you to be able to use a lot of this analogy and build a life that you want to live. you can live whichever way you want, but you need to create systems for making money, systems for getting work done, systems for basically being organized. But if you are that product, then you have to start with yourself, and you have to basically become the perfect product. Like, it's like, you know what, there's competition on every level. If you look at Apple, or if you look at, Apple, if you look at just the Apple phone, it's a brilliant product. But even at that level, Apple has competition in the form of Samsung, or, like different carriers and, different manufacturers. So there's competition on every level. Don't be deterred by any of it. The whole philosophy is for you to be able to focus on you. So what do I think about all of this, just to conclude this video, because it is getting quite long now, is build a system. The best way to basically be able to work online is to offer goods or services online, and you can try to Google them, and I will post more videos in the future. Subscribe to my channel. Let's tune in, guys. We're all in the same boat. And I just wanted to use my experiences to inspire people, to get people, to put the power back in the people's hands, if there is such a thing. Because ultimately, the system has beat up people for far too long, and it's up to us for us to come together, find strength, and share some ideas between each other, and help each other become a better version of ourselves. So please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for great content. That's I guess I would really appreciate that. And then I guess I'll see you on the next one. Bye.